It's very interesting because the color would certainly be consistent with that. And the orange-red thing, sulfur melts pretty easily, and if you shock cool it in water, just basically cool it very suddenly, it has kind of an orangish, reddish color. It will revert back to its yellow form. It's only metastable, but it's very interesting.
Well, the interesting part is that the way they described it was that both of them actually told me a similar story where they go through some kind of a shower type thing, where they're giving the shower, right? And that's where they start fighting, somewhere in this shower, right? And during the fight, they get kicked out. So,
Carol, have you heard anything like that before? I'm sure you've heard it all.
The shower event is happening as they're entering the craft or exiting?
Well, in this case, they were in the craft. Well, or whatever wherever they were taken.
I remember some sort of a gel being found on a couple of different people, or them remembering it being on them, and that it was the beings evidently told the people having the experience that it was a food. It was a nutrient.
Wow. I would think it would be like a decontamination for the dirty humans. Tom, you should be a peach and email Dr. Kokjohn your lab results.
Yeah, I have to dig them out and them. Well, you see, I for all these years, I hadn't said anything about it because, for the most part, I hadn't heard anything like it. From all the people that I work with. This was kind of.
I've both Dave and Bud have gotten reddish orange stains for whatever that means. I think one of them had theirs tested, and there wasn't anything remarkable that came back in it. I don't remember what the content was.
Yeah, and that's part and parcel for the course. What will you find? What element will you find that doesn't exist someplace elsewhere? everything that we see.
I'm sure. But again, like I said, the reason why this was unusual because for one, sulfur, pure sulfur, where are they going to get it from? To smudge it on themselves or whatever, and what are the chances that two circumstances with the same storyline?
No, that's an important observation. That's what makes this very intriguing.
And Tom just sort of basically kept it to himself to go, okay, this is weird enough that if I ever come across it again, I can, because if he just throws it out there, then people can, use that as an example. Maybe I don't know, they'll go get some paste or something.
Yeah, you don't know.
So he just sort of kept it as a control. Like a control feature within investigations, but you might as well throw it out there now, right?
Well, let me ask you one question, Tom. If I could, very quickly, your answer could make me very happy. Do you still have some sample? And
you know what? I don't think I have any more of the samples, but because I do remember one of the samples coming back. But I don't want to say 100% one way or the other. But I'll definitely take a look.
If you can find it, these things are extraordinarily interesting, and you want to keep that basically where only you, maybe Scott, somebody else you trust, can get to it, and basically keep it from being contaminated. The other thing that would be important is and I realize that time has passed now. An elimination sample from the family or clothing that, say, the child wore or the woman and man wore, so that it could be looked at to eliminate their cells. Because from their clothing, there's going to be hair and cells and other things. And did anybody look at this?
Unfortunately, at the time, most of it was, my stupidity in the sense that because these individuals, I wasn't sure of what the game was. Yeah. So I didn't take it very serious. I listened to the boy. I talked to him. I talked to the parent and the grandmother, but I sort of left it at that. I didn't take it any further.
Okay.
And if it wasn't until the second thing that came about when I made the connection.
Did anybody look at it? Just take a look under the microscope at any of the material.
Yes, at the time they analyzed it and
yeah, he has lab reports on. But
I gotta just
both samples,
find them, dig it out, because this is going back quite a few years back.
Because it might be kind of interesting if the cells that come off of skin are squamous epithelial cells, and they're a certain shape and sort of disposition that you can pick them out. But if this is another creature from elsewhere, and they got into it, you might have sloughed off from that person or FD.
Yeah. But see, at the time, we weren't thinking on that.
Like 20 years ago, wasn't it?
On that level, right? I mean, because it wasn't. When something unusual like that comes, it kind of throws you off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's just like the Condon report says. Tomorrow, everything could be different.
Right.
We could have now somebody out there might have heard you, and realizes that I could collect this, I could preserve it. Might make a difference.
It would.
And the thing is, it could very well have all kinds of stuff could have been out there with different investigators. But the biggest problem I think we had in this field is that there wasn't enough corroboration between people. Very seldom you have.
Yes. Would you agree with that, Carol? Would you say that?
Absolutely.
That they're keeping too many things tight to their chest?
Yes, absolutely.
And
I don't know how you get around that in a field where there's no institutional organization.
Institutional central control group, right?
People are actually trying to make a living off of their findings. So not only is it considered proprietary, it's essential to their their income.
I think that's part of the big problem there too. Is that what's the motivation? If and that was the thing that I fought for many years until I got fed up and tired of it myself. Most of the cases out there, you would go to somebody and they'll tell you a story and they'll give you part of it, and then when you say, "Oh, and was there witnesses?" "Oh yeah, there's witnesses," and I talk to the witness. "Well, can we talk to the witness?" They go, "Oh well, no, we can't because they're secret."
I've established a confidence with this witness, and they respect me for that confidence. So if I was to allow you to talk to them, then I'd be breaking that confidence. Does that sound familiar, Carol?
No, I do. I want to jump in and just say I'm a little uncomfortable at the sense here of kind of being on the show to be a tattletale from behind the scenes. That was never my intent in writing the initial article.
That's cool.
I was just shocked by the Emma Woods, Dave Jacobs case.
Right.
So much that I could hardly even. I really went into a funk. I had to figure out what really I believed about this, and it went on for almost a year to really synthesize it. And I feel that there is so much about human existence that lies in these kinds of paranormal, what we call paranormal issues, because we can't explain them. And if research just worked a little bit more along the lines of the scientific method, we might be able to find something out. But the way that it's currently being done, I don't think we know anything about this unknown phenomenon.
Yeah, I get. You're not attacking any person. You're just sort of questioning the method. We're not here to harm anybody or besmirch anybody's reputation. No. All we're asking is, in this case, for this show, all we're asking is there a better way to do this? Is there something within the scientific method that can help the people that, because when it comes right down to it, there are people out there that have experiences and they need help.
Yes, and it may not be the scientific method. That there may need. I mean, I've had this discussion with John Mack often. He always talked about a new paradigm, and what that was, nobody can quite define yet.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that the individuals that are going through the experiences, need some type of help, regardless of what that help may be from a professional. Ourselves, for the most part, the people that are dealing with the front lines are not that experienced for the most part. Very seldom do you have a team of individuals that have all the aspects that are needed for an investigation.
Well, so it needs to be a team effort, in my opinion.
Yes, and there was a time back in the early to mid '90s that we did have a pretty good team up here. We had a forensic police investigator. We had a number of other investigators, PIs, and so there was a time where we tried really hard to come up with.
What was the name of that group? Did it have a name?
Well, like I said, we were called MUFON Ontario at the time, and well, you know some of the fellas here. Errol's Bruce Knapp was one of them, and,
yes.
And a few others. But the problem is time. Time, kind of, especially when everything is out of pocket.
Well, I
catches up with you.
It's always that way, or usually.
So people get tired, get fed up, and when you're not getting the proper response from your other compatriots in the same field, then
well, not only that, they have lives.
It's not fun anymore.
The people have lives to live. They got to get up. They got to go to work. They got to go home. They got to look after their family. And it's not an organized. It can't be a fully organized group because there's no funding.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I always said about the biggest problem in this field is that there is not a constant stream of funding. There's no available stream. I mean, when Tyler has a project, he has a pretty clear line of approach to getting funding for his project.
Oh, my God. My life is so simple compared to what UFO researchers go through. I'm serious. I go back and I thank God I'm in mainstream science because all I have to do is secure the funding and attack the problem. I don't have all these other intrigues and issues that are legion. I mean, it's just, I was telling Tom earlier, it's just astonishing how many different things stir this pot.
Yeah.
Right. There's other countries that, just to throw it out there, there's other countries that handle the UFO issue a lot more in the sort of the dream team that we're looking for. What is it? Japan has their own official UFO investigation.
You have to think a lot of that comes from Jacques Vallée and his ability to parlay, basically success into something tangible. We didn't really have anybody here that could quite do that. Hynek was the closest thing, and he was marginalized, to be honest, by his compatriots. He was, I'll just throw it out there, I don't agree with this at all, but I think a lot of people would say, nope, man was a lightweight, he couldn't do anything, so he went off into paranormal land. And that's what happens to you. It's not fair, it's not right, but, oh my God, they turn on you fast.
Oh, yeah. Since you put out the fact that you're willing to help people with samples and stuff, has anybody taken you on?
Yes. What you do find, it's quite interesting. There aren't many people that have samples, first of all. But when I do find folks that have data or samples or whatnot, and I've contacted them, about half of them